going on, everybody? You are live with Osiris. Welcome to the Author's Lounge. The world is filled with storytellers, and I, along with my guests, are here today in the Author's Lounge to help educate and inspire the young generation of writers and creators. Now, my guests are professionals in publishing, writers from a wide range of formats, and successful entertainers. They will provide beneficial advice on what to do and what not to do on your path to success. So, without further ado, I'll present to you our next guest. Let's go. So today, I have a wonderful guest. She is a psychic, spiritual, intuitive medium. Wait, hold on. Can you help me out with that one?
Sure. It's complicated. So I call myself an intuitive. I'm also psychic and a spirit medium. So, to make that clear, I talk to dead people.
There it is. Okay, cool. Okay, and hey, before those get creeped out, don't worry. Some people there's a calling for it, and I'm really interested in hearing about that piece. But aside from that, she is also an author, and she has experience within television and experience with on the radio as hence the television and radio host. But enough of all that awesomeness. I want to hop right into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Natasha Rosewood. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you, Osiris, for having me. I'm excited to talk about these topics because they are my passion. So fire away.
Oh, of course. So let me get the biggest question right out of the gate that people are gonna want. You talk to dead people. Okay, so I've only met one psychic in my life, and the I was somebody who I wasn't sure if I believed in it or not. I believed in the whole paranormal activity because I had things that happened to me in my life, and I became a believer really quick. But the psychic that we met in the past said something to my wife's ex friend that had a lot to do with my wife and her ex friend. And we didn't see it at the time. I forgot she did some sort of a card reading. And it turned out to be true, down to a T. And that's when I was like, okay, there's certain people who are called to do certain things. You don't just wake up one morning, I don't think, and say I want to do that unless there's a calling to it. So for you, what is that life like? And how did that even become a thing?
Well, I have to tell you, Osiris, my first book, I Think I'm Psychic and You Can Be Too,
Yeah, yeah.
is about that journey because I was always fascinated by the invisible. And I didn't realize it because my mother always told me I was wrong, but I was seeing things right from the get go from when I was little. And I think it unnerved her because I could see things that were secret to her, and she was going, "Shut up, shut up."
Yeah, yeah.
And I just didn't think I was psychic. I just thought I was right, like most
Right.
teenagers. And then I came to Canada when I was 30, and it was so lovely in Canada because even though England we breed some great psychics. It was still very much under the kind of the table. You didn't want to brag about being a psychic in the UK because they might take you off in a straitjacket. So I came to Canada, Vancouver, and I found this bookstore that was all about the metaphysical. And I was like a kid in a candy store, like, oh my God, this is fantastic. So it opened up, and that title actually came from when I'd read a friend of my sister-in-law's, and my sister-in-law called me back 6 months later, and she said, "You're a witch." She said, "What you told Linda absolutely came true down to a T." And this is
Wow.
6 months later. And in my head, I went, I think I'm psychic, right?
Yeah.
And you can be too is I think we all have it,
Hmm.
but depending on our belief system, we keep it kind of tucked away or afraid of it, or we don't believe, we don't trust ourselves, that kind of thing. So I do help people develop that as well.
That's really interesting, and I would imagine it to be a gift as well. With the just the thought behind it. So, what I love about this particular platform, right, the on the Authors Lounge is when you get a writer, there's so much more to them than just a writer, and you get to know them as a person, and then the art either comes first or it comes second, but art imitates life. And so with that being your first book and how that actually ties perfectly into who you are, It's just a wonderful culmination of everything. And so, speaking of which, what psychic readings, right? Now, I'm just looking more to be educated on it. But do you do card readings, or do you do, like, I don't know, maybe there's a myth with the whole I have a crystal ball thing and I rub it on and I rub on it type of an ordeal. But what does your practices
With my
generally look
thing?
like?
Okay. So I started out with palmistry, and then I started seeing pictures in the palms, and then actually years later I was sick and unable to see people. Somebody said, "Oh, let me just talk to you on the phone," and actually my phone readings became the thing. And then when COVID came along, I did a lot more on Zoom. So I really channel. I can do palm, I do card, I do channeling. I try and incorporate those three into each reading, even if it's a short reading, because it gives a multi-dimensional experience for the person. And people are very fascinated and like, oh, what's that
Yeah.
mean? And it can change. The palms can change, or the energy in the palms can change. And I can even get a scan of a palm and read it long
No,
distance.
no
It's
way. Like,
amazing.
if I do it on screen, you'd be able to do it to me too?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
let's test
If
it.
you
Oh, let's have some fun. Can I try?
You can, I think I can see your lines if you hold it up, but normally I get an email. Now it's a bit blurry there, Cyrus. Yeah,
Okay.
even closer. Okay. Okay, good. So you've got, oh, that's it, really interesting. You've got some good strong lines there, some great energy. You've got a very strong fate line that comes right up through the center. So that means you came into this life with a very specific destiny for yourself. Your lifeline is going nicely around the base of the thumb, so you're really open to experiences. And your headline, the one that's just above the thumb that goes from the forefinger down towards the mount of the moon, that shows a lot of creativity. So I'm just going to say this to you, Cyrus. If you just want to hold your hand down a second, I'm going to say this to you. I'm getting the feeling that by the end of this year and coming into next year, there's going to be you've got a lot of you have a lot of boils in the air, right? I feel like you've got a lot going on, but
Mhm.
something is going to really go big for you. So I don't know. Are you you're not working on like a screenplay, are you, at the moment, or
No,
something
I am
big?
writing something that I want to have converted into a screenplay, though.
Okay, because I'm writing a screenplay, so that's interesting. But it feels like November, December, and I've seen this for a lot of people. This year is a bit of a gong show, things up in the
Mhm.
air. But by November, December this year, for many people, things are going to fall into place and there's going to be clarity and certainty. And going into 2026, it's going to be like, okay, everything's rocking and rolling now. And I'm getting that for you. But if you want to send me your palms afterwards, like do both, left and right, and send me an email attachment, I'll read them for you and I'll send it back.
Okay. Oh yeah, and I'll make sure I put my I'll have like a separate recording of, oh hey, look, this is what it was. I'll make sure this is it's included on the episode probably after the interview itself. That's
Fantastic.
fascinating. And it's interesting that how people are called to do certain things. So what you said was accurate down to a T, especially with the creativity. You say I've. This is going to be hard for people to believe because I used to hear it on TV all the time. This is the first time we've met. We've actually met before, but this is only the second time outside of the email that we've been communicating with that we've actually had an actual conversation. But again, I'm sure that's going to be hard for people to believe. Like, oh no way, no, there's no way it's true. All I can say is, for me, and I speak my truth, is that you were correct with the creativity thing for sure, and that there's a lot that I have going on even at this very moment, and there's uncertainty of what's going to happen with where I am right now versus the end of the year. I just move in blind faith, and hope for the best, pray for the best, and just continue to work hard and support my family. So thank you so much. That was a wonderful experience. Wonderful experience.
And can I just add, Osiris, there is somebody around you that's with you like like a guardian angel. So you're
Mhm.
never on your own. Like you are, um, I don't want to say protected, but pushed forward. So in that way, you are protected in that way. So
Oh
you're
yes,
going to
yeah,
do well. You're going to do
yeah.
well.
If you can feel it around you, no, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. Yeah. So speaking of, right, with the think I'm psychic, right? Or you can't be too. With that being your first book, and you've written other stories, how How were you pulled into making writing something that you were fully committed to?
Well, I'm sure you know this one, Osiris. It you don't choose it; it chooses you.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to. I was always a storyteller. I was always a great mimic. I'd entertain people with my stories and my accents. And I just always wanted to write. It was a burning desire. And my older, meaner sister told me when I was a young girl, I'd submitted an essay to my English teacher, and she said, "Oh, Mrs. Evans told me that you can't write. She wants me to write that story." So I got in my head that, oh, I can't write. And for years and years, but this burning desire would not leave me alone. So I was 49 by the time I really took myself seriously.
Hmm.
And I teach manifestation, by the way. I also call myself an intuitive manifestation coach. And I
Hmm.
really like that because I help people, I show them how to manifest their high potential and their gifts,
Hmm.
utilize their gifts. Anyway, I manifested this wonderful mentor when I was 49. I'm driving along the road going, I need help with my writing and I don't know whether I suck or whether I'm brilliant. And what am I going to do if I suck? Oh my God. Well, I'm going to just make the decision to learn how to become a good writer, which is actually kind of what I did. But obviously, the writing was in me. And I didn't stop for 25 years. And so now I'll just pan over here. I have 5 books there actually.
Oh, there it
And I've
is.
got 2 screenplays in the works as well.
Yes.
So I can't stop writing. It's like having to eat, you know,
Oh gosh, yes. Oh, yes.
right?
No, for sure. Are those screenplays that you're working on, is it greenlit or is it just in that development phase where you're just writing a screenplay you're going to want
It's not yet greenlit, but I'm up in Canada, of course, but I do have some people in Hollywood that who are very interested. So I'm actually doing a little bit of a rewrite. We've got some notes,
to?
so I'm in that stage. But it's a mostly
Congratulations.
true love story, and it's designed to give people hope, uh, talk about forgiveness and empowerment. So, and it's
Yes.
funny. So
Oh
I
yeah.
can't wait to see it up on screen, right?
I love the idea of the combination, like the comedic side on top of something serious and also something inspirational, and making it all come together. That is not something that I am skilled at doing. Tying in comedy with inspiration with something like a serious tone, you have to have a certain skill set to be able to do that. Speaking your truth. But congratulations on that and those connections. I think some people sleep on the idea that, you know what, I'm a writer. I think I just have to stick to this specific genre. Like, imagine if you only stuck to writing books. How
Right.
many more opportunities could potentially pass you if you didn't engage on the opposite side of filmmaking, right?
Exactly.
Creating a story for the silver screen is just as potent in my opinion, as it is writing a book in manuscript format to go into paperback or hardback or ebook format, whatever the case is. If you're a storyteller, I don't think you should be limited to a particular format. You should maybe adapt and overcome, see which ones you like. So I love that idea that you're doing that, and the idea that you also have connections already waiting for you shows that it's meant to be. Mom,
Absolutely.
yeah, my mother just said yesterday or 2 days ago, actually, she said nothing ever happens by accident. If it's meant for you, then it's always right. And I love the idea behind that. So kind of getting back towards you, Natasha, with your success and with your storytelling, you also had mentioned that you do television and you're a radio host. So how is
Yes.
that being on the opposite side? Now you're in the interviewee seat. What is that like?
Well, I love radio. I don't know how old you're, a lot younger than I am, Cyrus, but I was kind of brought up on radio and, well, TV, of course, but
Mhm.
radio was big in the UK. Love radio. So I did about 4 or 5 years of blog radio, and I
Mhm.
was teaching my thing, but I was inviting guests on who had their gifts.
Mhm.
And I also had a TV show on the Sunshine Coast where I was living. And I would just bring in people that it wasn't, a specific genre, but anybody who was doing good on the planet, whether they were saving the environment or teaching dance or healing through orthobionomy or just helping the community. I just wanted to promote that there are great people out there with a highly talented, and there are all these different things that we could get into that they weren't run of the mill. It wasn't just like ballet. It was like a dance format that nobody had really heard of or whatever. And so I really loved being the interviewer
Hmm.
because I think I should have been like a Barbara Walters number two, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Rest in peace to Barbara Walters.
But I'm not a barracuda and I can't, fight to go after people. It's just like it's got to happen nice and easy and gently. But I
Hmm.
love being interviewed as well because I think people are just so fascinating. So
Yes.
fascinating. Uh, One client said to me, I've been reading for 40 years plus, and she said, Natasha, are you still reading? And I went, yeah. She said, aren't you bored? And I went, are you kidding me? Because we're so multifaceted, multi-layered, not just in this lifetime. I see past lives as well, who you've been in
Hmm.
past lives.
Hmm.
And it's just like it just goes, it's a movie that just keeps on going.
Yes.
So never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment, not in any moment. And so with that, I'm sure you've had like many highlights throughout just your career, both as a writer and as a host. But what have been some of the more, I guess, some of the moments that have stuck with you that you can share for the younger generation of writers and creators that you feel could help them?
Oh, I think that's a great question, Osiris. So I'm getting goosebumps as I read as I'm answering this. So a lot of clients come to me and I'll look in their palms and I'll say, "Oh, you should be a writer or you should be a dancer." And the tears start rolling down their cheeks and they say, "Oh, I can't do that, Natasha." And I say, "Well, if it doesn't mean anything to you, why are you crying? Why is it having a visceral effect on you? Because
Hmm.
it's in you. But,
Yeah.
a lot of us, and I write this in the very first part of my first book, that we throw our gifts down in the basement. We're told we can't do this, or you
Hmm.
can't make money doing that, or you're not good enough, or you're the wrong size or color or whatever, you're wrong. And I say, you've got to bring that out from the basement and just do it. And don't worry about being good at it. Just have fun with it, play
Yeah.
with it, explore it, find a teacher if you want to, join a group, just do it. Because once you start doing it, once I started writing, and I kept, my husband kept saying, you got to tell people you're a writer. It's like, oh, yes, I'm a writer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, 5 books later, I think I'm a writer. And it's just when you affirm that, and when I affirmed I'm a psychic, the whole thing opened up. When I affirmed I'm a writer, the whole thing opened up.
Hmm.
And it's like you're giving yourself permission to be to be the person you really, really are.
Yes.
So I would say to everybody, and don't take I know I showed one of my screenplays to a production house in Canada. This is the first one. And straight away, I got two people very interested, but the second one said, well, it's more like a Harlequin thing. And I took that as a real negative and I shoved it back in my drawer. And I'm thinking now, like, hang on a second, Harlequin, I could make a lot of money with Harlequin
Yeah. Oh yes.
romance. Duh. So it's like you've got to be really careful not to take people's opinions and voices too seriously. You're the one that decides how good you can be.
Hmm.
You're the only one, and you do whatever it takes to get to the end game, right?
Yes.
And you just do whatever it takes. You find the right people. I'm a manifestor, so I draw people to me very easily.
Hmm.
And, a lot of those clients have come back, not always about writers. There was one 60-year-old lady who was a ballet dancer. I
Yeah.
sold ballet, and she was really miserable in her life. And I said, you got to do this ballet. She said, what are you talking about? I said, you don't have to wear a tutu. Just go out, get some ballet shoes, and start dancing
Hmm.
around your living room. Anyway, 3 months later, she emailed me. She said, oh, Natasha, I'm so much happier. Everything's much better. It's just like that dancing released everything else in her.
Mm.
And that's what creativity does. It just sets you free.
Yes, sets you free. And you said two things that was really poignant, right? The first was sometimes and I'm just I don't want to misquote you, but I'm just summarizing, right? Where some of these ideas that you have, like being a writer, oh, you're not good enough, or you don't feel like you're good enough. You push it to the basement, you put it away, you push it to the side. And the other one was, give yourself permission. And what I love about both is that first piece about putting it in the basement is that some people just truly sometimes it's their environment that they have this and they have all of this ambition and these goals and they're a dreamer and it seems so astronomical to reach those levels that they themselves believe it until they share it with a small-minded person. And but that small-minded person has a lot of influence over them. So now their ambitions and how paramount they were, and I say were because they decided to give in to the small minded thinkers. And this is not to undermine those small minded thinkers because they can be truly great people. They could even be family members, they could be parents or siblings or best friends or spouses. It's
100%.
gen- right. It's generally those that are closest to you that I've learned, not from my experience, but from just it happened to me when I was younger. Just your parents they project their fears onto you and now those fears manifest
Exactly.
inside of you and somehow you grow up in fear until you decide to go and break the fear break away from that. But just for those who get are easily influenced by their surrounding areas, if they have these ambition, they decide I'm going to listen to these small-minded thinkers. And I think to your point, going to somebody like you and you pulling it out of them for them to live in their purpose. And I think that's what it all comes down to. The idea behind this show is exactly those reasons is to inspire them to keep going, to live out their dreams and be something greater as a creator because there's not people feel especially with AI and how it is and AI has always been a thing, but now AI is around for sure in terms for writers and all these programs and many people feel that I really don't have a voice now. If I believed it at first that my family or my friends said you really can't do it, but I thought now maybe I really can't do it because AI is taking over. And so to your credit, I think you have a wonderful gift. So sorry for talking so much. You pulled it out of me too.
That's my thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to mention, actually, to follow on from that, Osiris, is my next book is going to be called The Magic of You,
Mm,
and it's manifesting your authentic self.
yes.
Because I think when we manifest, and I'm a good manifester. I've manifested relationships, houses, money, cars, you name it,
Hmm.
and doesn't always work. But when it doesn't always work, I go back to the drawing board and say, okay, where am I blocking it? I'm not blaming the government or anything else that's going on around me.
Hmm.
It's me, and I'm not loving myself enough to think that I deserve that. So I think that's where in my years of readings and doing workshops and radio shows and interviewing people, it's we've all got to really, and I do this now, stand in front of the mirror and say, Natasha, you rock.
Right.
Even though I don't believe it some days,
Oh yeah.
but the more we do it, and we tell ourselves what we love about ourselves, the more that what we focus on expands. So the more that gets bigger. And I've had so many people now, especially after my first book,
Hmm.
tell me I'm a great writer, and it's like, wow, wow, that's music to my ears. I had a lot of
Hmm.
help. Obviously, I wouldn't be a great writer if I didn't have a fantastic editor. I'm a
Oh
big
yes.
believer in editors, right?
Yes. Yep.
But and I continue to work with this lady, and I've been so blessed. And I know I manifested her because my desire was so strong to be, well, a good writer, if not a great writer. But I'm still working on that, as you know how that one goes. You're never
Hmm.
done with your level of how good you can be.
Right.
But it's lovely because you can just keep on going, and it never ends. It never ends. So I'm excited about this book. I'm going to do an online course with it and really work with people and say, instead of predicting, yes, you're going to meet the guy and win the lottery and you're going to write 3 books, let's work it together. I'm going to be your coach. I'm going to ensure what your highest potential is, what your correct potential is, and then I'm going to teach you the tricks of the trade, how to get there. And just, it's all about energy, as you know. It's all about energy.
Yes. All about energy and how to align yourself with that energy. I think, sorry for keeping you a little over. I promise you I'll end it here shortly. But just to think about energy, I remember when I was younger, like really locking onto the idea of, people, places. It's, a lot of these areas of energy. Like right now I'm in Washington State, right close to the Seattle area. There's a lot of nature out here, and the air is fresh, and just being able to go out and be one with nature. I never truly understood the philosophy of that analogy, be one with nature, until I came here. Really, when I went to Oregon, en route to coming here, but when I was out there, you just breathing in the scent off of the leaves in the fresh air, just you and nature, and being wrapped in the cocoon of it. You're all in one, and it just feels so good to have that type of clarity of that's what it means to be one with nature, to be at peace, and having calming demeanor. If you have any stressors in your life, I've always suggested to people to get up and just go for a good walk. Even if you are, especially to those who work at a desk and they can't go, or anyone who really works heavy, right? But just
Yeah.
being able to step away, close the computer down, or turn the phones off, and just go for a quick walk. And um, it's just it's talking to you. It's been truly wonderful. I'll ask one more question, and then I'll have to get you back on the show again because this is maybe when your book comes out. When will that book come out? By the way, that's not the question, but
I'm going to say, well, the screenplay is number one. That book might even be middle of next year, but it could be sooner. I've got the draft, so it's kind of in line with my projects. I've got one project I'm trying to do at a time. So I want to launch the screenplay, and then I can get that done. But it'll be fast. It's already put together, kind of thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Your screenplay. Do you have the now? Are you selling the rights of that screenplay as well, or do you get to
No,
keep the rights?
I don't know. I think I'll keep the rights because I might want to write a book actually based on the screenplay. I'm going to do it reverse. I don't know yet, so we'll see how that one goes.
I can't wait to hear that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing the success stories that's coming back, and I'd like to check out some of your work too. I know you had panned over and showed it earlier. Even though those who are going to be listening to this the audio only, if you don't mind, could you name? This is really specific to
Asian.
those who are going to be only hearing it and not seeing the video, but the
Right.
names of your books and where they can reach
Okay.
and how
So
they
the
can
first
reach
one,
you.
yeah, okay.
Sorry, I
Well,
wasn't trying to yell. I'm excited, but yeah. Sorry. The main question is the name of your books and how can people contact you?
okay. So the first thing to contact me, it's really easy, natasharosewood.com. And my email and phone numbers on there, and all my books are on there actually. So if they want to purchase right off the website, they can. But the names of the books, the first one is I Think I'm Psychic, and You Can Be Too. So stories of my psychic development and teachings about consciousness. Second one is I Thought You Were Dead, and Other Psychic Adventures. 20 stories from my clients about the spirit realm, animal spirits, past lives, soul retrieval, that kind of thing. Third one is Mostly True Ghostly Stories, which was
Hmm.
fun to write. 10 big stories based on actual events that either I experienced or somebody close to me did. And then I've got two, I was a flight attendant for 8 years of Cyrus, so I've got two books on my memoirs, which are very funny. The first one is called Flight of Your Life, Confessions of a 1970s Air Hostess. And the
Uh-huh.
second one is called The Longest Flight of Your Life, Confessions of a 1980s Air Stewardess. And
Oh,
they're all
nice.
on Amazon. So they're all written with a sense of humor, especially the first one and the last two. So if people need something light and they can learn at the same time, they're good books.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, people need more joy and humor in their life. Laughter I've once heard is the best medicine, and so thank you so much for all of your nuggets and your wisdom and your stories and the psychic reading. Literally unprepared. Let's just go. Not you unprepared, but not prepared for that to even be a thing. But when you're called for it, you're always ready. And so, hey, thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to tune into today's episode. I'm here with Natasha Rosewood, and it has been a true pleasure. I'm looking forward to staying in contact with you and hearing more stories. And I can't wait to learn about what your screenplay and once that is greenlit and see the movie. And it's going to be a wonderful ride. And I
It
can't
is.
wait to. I'll send you the information too about the poems and to your email.
Okay.
Yep. I'll
Thank you.
also, of
Mhm.
course, you're welcome. I was going to say, I'll make sure that your website and the information of how people can reach you is linked into the description of this episode and the audio recording as well, so people can have immediate access to just click on it wherever they view this at.
Fantastic.
Yes, man. Well, hey, you all take care. Have a wonderful remainder of your day, and I'll catch you next
You,
time.
you too, Osiris. Bye bye for now.